Have you ever noticed that Americans often prefer to work alone? They like managing their own tasks. They dislike being constantly supervised. They feel uncomfortable when someone interferes too much in how they do their job. In many cultures, teamwork is everything. Working alone can be seen as selfish, risky, or even disrespectful. So why is it different in the United States? Why do Americans value independence so strongly at work? Why do they trust individuals more than systems? And why does working alone often lead to more respect, not less? To understand this, we need to go far beyond the workplace, into history, education, psychology, and the core values of American culture. American independence at work didn't start in offices. It started with the country itself. The United States was founded on the idea of breaking away from control. From the very beginning, Americans were taught one central belief: your life is your responsibility. Early settlers crossed oceans with no guarantees. They built homes, farms, and towns with little support. If something failed, there was no authority to rescue them. Survival required self-reliance. This mindset didn't disappear. It evolved. Instead of farms, people now manage careers. Instead of survival, they manage performance. But the belief remains the same. If you succeed, it's because of you. If you fail, it's also on you. Working independently feels natural in a culture built on self-dependence. In many countries, education emphasizes memorization, following instructions, respecting authority. In the U.S., students are trained differently. From a young age, American students are encouraged to form their own opinions, ask questions, challenge ideas, work on individual projects. Group work exists, but individual accountability always matters. You are graded on your own ideas, your own arguments, your own performance. Students learn early that your voice matters only if you can stand behind it. This creates adults who are comfortable thinking independently and working independently. In many cultures, being physically present is proof of hard work. In the U.S., results matter more than appearance. You don't need to sit in an office all day, constantly report progress, ask permission for every step. Instead, expectations are clear. Here is your goal. Here is your deadline. How you get there is your responsibility. Working independently signals confidence. It tells others, I don't need to be controlled to perform. This is why micromanagement is widely disliked in American workplaces. Being closely supervised can feel like a lack of trust, a questioning of competence. Independence equals respect. Independence in the U.S. does not mean lack of responsibility. In fact, it's the opposite. When Americans work independently, they own their decisions. They accept consequences. They expect to be evaluated fairly. There is no hiding behind a group. If something fails, you can't say, it wasn't my fault. This level of accountability is respected. People who handle autonomy well are seen as mature, reliable, leadership-ready. That's why independent workers often advance faster. American culture strongly leans toward individualism. This doesn't mean Americans hate teamwork. It means they believe individuals create value before teams do. A strong team is made of strong individuals. Working independently allows people to develop unique skills, build personal identity, stand out. Standing out is not discouraged. It's rewarded. In many societies, blending in is safer. In the U.S., being distinct is often an advantage. Americans change jobs frequently. This forces them to adapt quickly, learn independently. prove themselves without long-term protection. If your success depends on a system or a group, moving becomes difficult. Independence creates flexibility. That's why Americans who work well alone often freelance, start businesses, lead projects early in life. The system rewards self-starters. Working independently means higher risk, and Americans are comfortable with that. Failure is not shameful. It's educational. If you fail alone, you learn faster. You build resilience. You gain credibility through experience. People who rely too much on others are seen as fragile. Independence signals emotional strength. Remote work, freelancing, and digital tools strengthen this mindset. Americans adapted quickly because the culture was already prepared. Working independently online feels natural when goals are clear, outcomes are measurable, freedom is valued. The modern economy favors self-directed workers. Despite their independence, Americans value teams when goals are complex, roles are clearly defined. Each person owns their part. They dislike vague collaboration. A team works best when everyone can operate independently within it. So why do Americans prefer working independently? Because independence means freedom, trust, responsibility, growth. It's not about rejecting others. It's about standing on your own first. Once you can do that, collaboration becomes a choice, not a dependency. And that is one of the most defining features of the American mindset.